What got you initially involved and interested in the fintech industry?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been working, I guess, like more broadly in like finance, fintech for like 12, 13 years, and been in crypto for like 7 or 8 of those. So yeah, I worked on like, initially worked in like an investment bank, then worked on multiple startups that were focused on data analysis. And yeah, then found myself like early on in the Ethereum community, playing around with different DeFi protocols, yield farming, doing all that fun stuff. Discovered platforms like Numerai, which was super interesting back in like 2016, 17, which focused in on data, AI, crypto. And yeah, since then been focused on building stuff, built out a blockchain called Mode. And yeah, more recently was a co-founder of Synth and have been working on this. Yeah, for the last, it's nearly a year now that Synth has been under construction. So yeah, excited to tell you more about everything Synth.
Before we jump into the Synth, you did some crypto consulting work, I believe.
Yeah, so I had like a consultancy, a small consultancy. I sold it to a large agency called Hype around 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, the founder of Hype had another company that he exited. So he went off and worked on that and was running Hype for the best part of 2 years, which was super fun. It grew from around 30, 40 employees when I joined to over 100. I worked with a lot of like the top crypto protocols on like their growth and kind of distribution strategies. So yeah, it was a really interesting time.
How does that experience you feel translate to now the work you're doing in BitTensor with Synth?
I think that like, yeah, go to market, and thinking of different like growth strategies in crypto is like an ongoing challenge because things move so quickly. So like, on crypto Twitter, you see that like what's hot 1 month, 1 week, 1 year is not going to be the hot thing, 12 months later or a few months later even. So you really need to think about like how you can build out a strong foundation for an organization and then like with like a clear strategy and a clear goal, but then layer on top like lots of different like growth tactics. So maybe there's a certain marketing channel that's working, like doing podcasts. So you go really hard on that for a while, and you test it, you see what the results are. If it's working, you keep doing that. And then you try and find a new channel as well to work on as well. So it definitely taught me that you have to be very adaptable as a founder and as a team. And you have to just, try and execute on lots of stuff at the same time, see what's working and then double down on it.
You said 12 to 13 years ago was your start in the financial industry. When was your introduction to crypto?
Around 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. So I got introduced to Ethereum and Bitcoin and started like, I guess, reading up on, the kind of core principles behind these technologies, was really interested in like the decentralized nature of them. And was really excited about the possibility that like things could be built on Ethereum. That seemed really cool to me that there's this base layer for tech innovation to happen.
There's been people that relate the Ethereum ecosystem with the ICOs and such to the BitTensor ecosystem with subnets. How do you feel about that comparison?
I think it's like kind of a fair comparison in a way because like Ethereum essentially like opened Pandora's box that like, hey, you can now fund a company in a decentralized way. Like people can send their ETH here, they can receive tokens over here, and these companies can like come into existence and they have this new fundraising mechanism, right? And that was pretty cool to see. But obviously along with that openness came like a lot of like negative things, right? So ICOs, I think many people, I don't know, like if all people think they were net negative, but many people think of like ICOs as like a negative thing. Like there were lots of scams, there was lots of bad stuff happening, but like the underlying like fundraising mechanisms, like extremely important to like show what crypto can be, right? It's this like really amazing platform for raising money from anywhere in the world, low transaction fees, things can happen quickly. And companies can like get started. And that's super cool. And I think BitTensor, it's also, it's focused very much in on like AI and compute right now. It's an incentive mechanism. There's a much more of a structure. It's kind of like a more advanced evolution of startup fundraising, right? So some people say BitTensor is like a startup fundraising factory for teams that are really serious about AI. And the cool thing that I like about DTAO and how BitTensor has structured the way that alpha tokens are very tied into like the ecosystem is that they've also thought about like the long-term health of the ecosystem. I think a lot of people, their concerns with things like ICOs was that they were very short-term thinking. So people could raise money, they launch a token, in a few months, the project's gone, right? There wasn't always an incentive for the team to continue delivering because their incentive structure wasn't focused on long-term product development or long-term company development. Whereas BitTensor is very much focused on longer-term development and really rewards teams that show they're going to consistently be delivering and improving their commodity, their company, startup over the long term. So yeah, it feels like DTAO is like very much an evolution of what we've seen across crypto in fundraising.
Since you used to be a crypto consultant, say OTF came to you, what would be your advice to them on moving forward?
So I think that like BitTensor is in a pretty interesting position, like OTF, sorry, not BitTensor. Like OTF is in a very interesting position because they are doing an extremely good job of making sure that the ecosystem is decentralized, decision-making is decentralized. And they've created this open platform. And Ethereum did the same. And it meant that a lot of like initiatives that want to be, I mean, some people say there needs to be more marketing. There needs to be XYZ things happening. It's very much up to the community, the group of people which hold the token or are active within the community to do that. And that's like by design, right? Like a decentralized network should have contributions from hundreds, thousands of different people. And that's like its power. So when people think something should happen, there's this coordination problem of like, how does it happen? Because you don't have one centralized entity going, okay, we're going to do this right now. You know, you have to coordinate different groups of people to make the thing happen. So I think a lot of people say that like BitTensor needs more marketing. And I think like to an extent that's fair, but the only way to like saying that kind of has no weight. It's like in like a decentralized world, like you need as a contributor to go, BitTensor needs to have more marketing. Here's 5 different proposals for BitTensor to like, or for the OTF and other groups to look at. Let's all work together to make something happen. That's kind of the only way to go about it. Saying that, within the Ethereum Foundation over the last year, they had a change in management and they've become a lot more hands-on, and it's definitely like benefited them. So there could be a world where OTF decides to become a lot more hands-on, but the way I think they should become more hands-on is by supporting the founders, like the subnet owners, the founders, the ecosystem more. Versus like trying to like, I don't know, go and do like big marketing campaigns. So yeah, it's an interesting time. And I think generally like the core goal of OTF is to contribute along with other validators, TAO holders, community members to make like the protocol as strong as possible and as powerful as possible. And they're doing a great job of that.
You yourself as a subnet owner entered this space of prediction markets on BitTensor. There's been a lot of attempts at it. How did you decide on your approach of these Monte Carlo type of simulations?
Absolutely. So me and the co-founder of Synth, we've been very obsessed with thinking about the future and probabilities. And Sam's experience is in trading, building out these types of systems. And it's a pretty powerful thing, like prediction markets have given us this very powerful tool for thinking about the future and probabilities. And if you watch the top poker players or hear like a lot of top traders, they always talk about how they don't think about things if like they will happen or won't happen. They try to apply a probability that that thing will happen. Then when they have that probability, they decide whether they're going to trade for or against that probability happening, right? So with Synth, we have this fundamental view that you can't predict the price of Bitcoin. You can't say the price of Bitcoin will be X tomorrow, but you can give a probability or you can model the potential outcomes of what the price could be. And you can give a probability of that. So you can give a probability of the price will be over $112,000 tomorrow. The price will be under $108,000. That's possible to start to model and get better at and improve at over time. And so this was really perfect, like a perfect task for a subnet where you have lots of miners competing with these like volatility predictions, giving probabilities to the future asset prices, and then being scored on these continuously. And like so the task, like for us, like it made sense that this task can work as a subnet. And, it was possible that we could have launched something completely different. Like we didn't have to launch this on BitTensor, but the incentive mechanism really made sense. And BitTensor was like a perfect place to kind of bootstrap this, get it going, get interest from miners, validators, all these like really smart people, get feedback, and start to like make a really robust kind of ongoing, I guess it's like a quantitative modeling competition. And it would have been very hard to do that somewhere else. So yeah, it's kind of like we went from like thinking about this, how to solve this problem of like, we want to start to model probabilistic outcomes of the future. Asset prices make the most sense here. We also think that different types of AI agents, different types of like market participants need this data. Okay, how can we get some really robust data around this? How can we like build essentially the best data sets? Okay, an open competition makes the most sense here. Our job is to design a really robust scoring methodology. And yeah, that's what we found like BitTensor was really, really good for.
The way you guys have designed this competition is each miner will give 100 different price paths for the next 24 hours. How did you decide on the 24-hour time frame, and what limits you guys from changing that time frame to shorter or longer?
So we decided on 24 hours because a lot of markets, especially options markets, are like 1 day or 0 days to expiry or 1 day to expiry markets. So it's also like it works well in the amount of data you need to model and like the consistency of modeling that data. If you want to the way you score the data which is being modeled, 1 day works well because you score daily, rewards are given out daily, or we score on a continuous basis, but rewards are given out daily. In BitTensor, like in 24-hour kind of epochs, I guess, windows on an ongoing basis. So it like 24 hours just kind of makes sense for this. Also, if you want to know if a model's good, it usually needs to run for a few days. And then you can like score continuously, like every day, get a much better understanding of if the model's good. And that's great because that's not too much time, right? So when a miner registers, within a few days, they can kind of see where they are in the leaderboard. If it was like a week-long period, then miners might have to wait like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to understand where they are. That's kind of a long time, especially when it comes to like deregistration and these things, like these mechanisms. It works a lot better with, this 24-hour like style modeling competition we're doing. We could potentially increase or decrease the window of time. That's very possible. We're pretty excited about shortening the window or creating like a more high frequency version of Synth, which lives like under Synth or as a subnet, especially as we've seen like lots of new markets emerge. Like Polymarket has a 15-minute market. That's pretty cool. So we could actually ask for submissions like over a much shorter time frame, which would be cool. Just have to work on like the latency of like how quickly we can get those requests from miners and how we work out scoring. But yeah, that's something we're actually really excited about.